It is really interesting because again, when I looked at the SOP, and again, we would have talked about this last week, so we're going to talk about it this week.
Yep.
Unemployment, they lowered their expectations. Their GDP was higher. I guess the biggest takeaway for me in all of them was their expectation for rates to be 5.1, what I think was the blended average at the
Right.
end of 2024. And I think of all the numbers, that's the one that kind of slapped Wall Street and said, wake up, guys.
Yeah, the interesting one to me is that their inflation expectations actually came down a little bit,
Hmm.
but their interest rate forecast went up, which is weird. You're saying, okay, we're controlling inflation better than we had previously expected, but we think interest rates need to be higher. And what that says to me is they are trying to restrict the economy further. The bigger the gap between where you have interest rates and inflation is, the bigger the real rates are.
Mm-hmm.
Higher real rates mean a more restrictive financial policy, monetary
Yeah.
policy. And so that's what they're saying is the economy is chewing through these rate hikes too well. And inflation is coming down, but at the end of the day, the economy is firing too much, and therefore we need more restrictive policy.
Yeah. What I've told my audience, and I truly believe, and again, I'm wrong all the time, is I think that was all theater. I think this was classic. I think Jerome Powell did what I've been asking for 6 months. He acted tough. He talked tough. He's like, no, motherfucker, I'm going to punch you in the face until you give up. And I think the market finally heard him. I think he has no intention of another rate hike this year. Um, my hope is he can pause all of next year, but we'll see. Because there was a scary number released Friday, pending home sales. I'm not sure if you saw it because you were busy with dad duty, I'm sure. But pending home sales fell 7.1% month on month.
Yikes.
My
Yikes.
belief is that's the first economic number that shows 525 basis point hikes is meaningful.
That
And
shows
it gets
the
worse from
average
here.
30-year mortgage at nearing 8% right now, somewhere between 7.5% and
Yeah.
8%.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I did a post yesterday on this, just talking about why mortgage rates are so high. And the obvious reason is because they base things off of the 10-year treasury. And the 10-year treasury has been on a rocket ship because
Mm-hmm.
of this higher for longer and strong persistent inflation talk. But also, and we've talked about this before, is the abnormally wide spread between the 30-year mortgage rate and the 10-year treasury yield that's being paid right now. Normally that's at about a buck and a half, 1.5%. Right now it's at a full 3%. And that
Yeah.
is banks and lending agencies saying we're scared of where inflation's going, so we need to build in a margin for error there, and therefore we're going to double what we normally place as the spread above the 10-year treasury yield.
Yeah.